Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. How I will boost economy, enhance security by Tinubu. Buhari to unveil Tinubu's campaign document council this Friday. How Nigeria can achieve industrialization by Dangote. Not elders disown Atiku, don't vote Yoruba Igbo comment. Wike endorses Sanwo-Olu for second term. Governors demand state police and others. Bank of America predicts Naira depreciation. And Army leads exercise to rout criminals in Lagos and Ogun State. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, I'll start with the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike. Yesterday at the National Women's Conference organized by the Committee of Wives of Lagos State Officials that held at Eko Hotel. The theme for this year's event was Spring Forth and Stand Out. And while he was there, he hailed the governor of Lagos State. He said he's doing very well. And as far as he's concerned, anybody running against him is wasting their time. He says that he does not play politics of ethnicity. If you're in his party or you're from his place and you're not doing well, he would not even have shown up for, the event. He was also very complimentary of the work that the wife of the Lagos State Governor is doing with this organization. And he made a pledge of a lot of money. I can't find it here, but a lot of money. And also the governor of the state also spoke and enjoined the youth to vote for him. And,
right.
That's it.
So Dangote, he's an industrialist. He was speaking yesterday at the second Adeola Odutola presidential luncheon in Lagos, where he was a guest speaker. And he was talking about how Nigeria can achieve industrialization. And he preferred some suggestions. He said that there are several factors that need to be in place for Nigeria to be fully industrialized. And these include security, rule of law, industry-oriented government policy, adequate infrastructure, industry-oriented research and development, the R&D, a well-developed SME sector, building of human capacity, an embrace of technology to improve efficiency through information and manufacturing processes. These are some of the key steps that Nigeria must take to become fully industrialized, which can therefore improve our economy and into our GDP growth.
All right, so I actually took this one, not elders disown Atiku. All right, and so Arawa Joint Committee has disowned itself, or actually detached themselves from the statement he made about the don't vote Yoruba, don't vote Igbo statement. And they're saying that, over the weekend they had this meeting, and what they were about was just for them to bring to the fore whatever thing they have, like the aspirants to bring to the fore whatever thing they have planned for Nigeria. So they're not in support of anything, any statements, that he made. So they're just taking themselves out of it and saying that that is not what they stand for. And so they don't even encourage anything like that.
Yeah, so the National Assembly and 24 governors are having a face-off over the refusal of 24 houses of assembly to pass 44 constitution amendment bills transmitted to them in March this year. So the 24 houses of assembly are telling the legislative body that they will not consider and pass the bills except they add additional 4 bills to it. And they mentioned the 4 bills, which is to establish state police, state judicial council, streamline the procedure for removing presiding officers of houses of assembly, and institutionalize legislative bureaucracy in the constitution. And they've been going back and forth. So there was this conference that was held by Ovie Omo-Agege, and they said most of the committee members were not involved in that. The chairman, House of Representatives, ad hoc committee on constitution review was not there, though they said that Ahmed Wase had given him the go-ahead. That's Ovie Omo-Agege, the go-ahead to handle the meeting. So the issue now is 11 states have considered, gotten with the 44 constitutional reviews. They've signed it. But 24 states are refusing to sign it until they add that 4 additional. And that 4 additional is quite important. We've been talking about state policing for a very long time.
So those 11 states are just went quickly to agree.
Why are they rushing?
Yes, they obviously are not interested in state policing. They're having issues with this judicial independence talking about. And those states, we should have conversations with them.
Yeah, they should understand what we're saying.
Not,
interested in state policing.
Okay, let's move on quickly now to The Punch. Political rally attacks. Annex summons parties. Police plan 13 billion naira firearms purchase. Flood victims battle hunger, risk disease in Anambra. I don't know who killed Ataga. I fled in fear, says Chidinma. Ogun workers quit Chinese factory protest, colleagues' death. FG to complete Lagos-Ibadan Expressway in December. Ibadan Tinubu launches campaign, unveils manifesto this Friday. Nigerians pay over 1 trillion naira tax to 36 states. Insurgency killed 100,000, displaced 2 million, says CDS. An incoming administration to inherit $716 million judgment debts. Interesting. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I've got the picture story, the sad situation in Anambra State. So the flood victims had been taken by NEMA and also the state emergency management agencies to different IDP camps, you know. But they said since they have been there 2 weeks, they haven't received food or, you know, from the agencies. And that the only way they've been feeding is because of personal donations of materials, and which has led that most of them just feed, or all of them, they feed once a day. They said that there are no mosquito nets. Most of them are sleeping on the bare floor. Just that the places have not been, they're not well catered to at, you know, this period. And I guess it's just asking that the government should do something and just make, already it's a tough situation, just make a tough situation a bit better. Yes.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. I'm going to Helen Pot.
All right, yeah. So here I've got Nigerians pay 1.2 trillion naira to tax to 36 states. All right, so Nigerians across the 36 states of the Federation paid 1.23 trillion naira in taxes in 2021, a 19.19% increase from the 1.03 trillion naira paid in 2020. I mean, I think this is good news, like it's improving. Yeah, so this is actually according to the data from the state internally generated revenue report by the National Bureau of Statistics released recently. And according to the data, tax revenues actually accounted for 66.16% of state IGR, that is 1.56 trillion naira in 2020, and 64.88% of 1.89 trillion naira in 2021.
Wow, nice. So workers of a Chinese recycling plant got burnt. The Chinese plant got burnt in Abulo Dodo, Papalanto Road, Ogun State. Papalanto, I know that one. They have been protesting about their the death of their colleagues, and they said the fire happened as a result of one of the machines, you know, falling and, you know, catching fire. And so the company heads now locked the premises and asked them to use buckets of water to put out the fire. So they were struggling to put out the fire and save 3 of their colleagues. According to one of them, they said it was more than even 3 people that died. Some were burnt beyond recognition. They're still trying to do like a head count. Now, the Chinese company has been appealing to the workers because they had started protesting, saying that they want to go, they want to stop working for the company, and they need to be paid what they have worked for. So they have been appealing to them not to go. There was a traditional chief in the area who was called into the matter, and he's also appealed to them that the Chinese company will take ownership of what has happened and find a way to compensate them. But they are really angry, saying that they have even been maltreated even while doing the work. And so it's a no-no for them. They want to go, and they need the family members of the lost ones to be really, really compensated before they let the matter die.
All right, so INEC is warning all the political parties that has summoned them actually for a meeting. There was a training they had yesterday in Abuja with the trainers, preparing them for the 2023 elections, saying that there were clashes between all the parties, that they should warn their followers. If you recall, recently there was a clash between the APC and the LP supporters. I think the PDP supporters also were attacked, and I think in Kaduna. So INEC was saying that, listen, you have to talk to your followers. You cannot, we don't want to have a campaign based on hate, hate speech and the slander. We want it to be based on issues, and that's what we should encourage. He also mentioned at that training that the police plans to spend 13 billion naira to acquire arms for the elections.
And they need to protect people.
Yeah, but it's a lot of money.
Right?
Yeah, so, I mean, but I'm happy that they highlighted a few videos that went viral where we had the Pirates Confraternity where they were singing against one of the flag bearers. You know, listen, let us have
This is not what we need right now.
At the end of the day, one person will win and we still have Nigeria.
Yeah.
Make it about the issues.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, let's move on very quickly to Vanguard. Floods, Delta, Anambra, Benue, Bayelsa governors cry to federal government for help. I'll advance your legacies, Tinubu assures Buhari. Burning of crude oil vessel, Tompolo Fault Falana defends CDS and Navy. Allow Konua Namda to coexist with ASU, FG tells Nigerian Labour Congress. FG backs OPEC production output. No, they actually back OPEC production cutbacks. Zamfara government bows to pressure withdraws orders shutting broadcast stations. Oh, fantastic. We took that story yesterday.
Yeah.
2023, Wike pitches test with Sanwo-Olu. 2023, start preparing transition documents. Buhari directs SGF and ministers. Bandits invade hospital, kill 2, abduct scores in Niger State. Which story are we starting with? Go ahead.
Let me use Zamfara since it's what happened. We're taking the story that the governor had shut down media houses in Zamfara State because they had covered an illegal rally, what he calls it. But as of today's report, is saying that the government is apologizing for that, for what it did, but that the governor was angered because this was something that he had specifically stated should not happen in the state, given that they had just had a resurgence of bandit attacks in a couple of communities in the state. And so he had said everything that has to do with political rally, political meetings, activities need to be stopped for now. And, you know, just the security of the state and its indigents put on the forefront. And then to have the PDP go ahead to do a rally. And what happened also is that because of this rally, one man has been confirmed dead, shot dead, and 18 others have been injured during this event. So just everything and the fallout of the rally, that's what made him do this. But thankfully, the media houses have been allowed to go on. But he's asking the media to please work hand in hand with the government to ensure safety and security in the state.
Yes. Right. So I do have Tompolo Fault in Falana for the burnt crude oil vessel. Tantita, that's Security Services Nigeria Limited, TSSNL, the private security company operated by ex-militant leader government Ekwemopolo, alias Tompolo, has countered the claim by Femi Falana SAN that the Chief of Defense Staff CDS, General Lucky Irabo, and Nigerian Navy were wrong in the burning of crude oil vessel recently seized by his company for oil thefts. And, well, it went on, saying that, he contended that Falana and those opposed to the CDS incorrectly relied on the Armed Forces Act, but the applicable law in the case in question is the Hydrocarbon Oils Refining Act. Care must be taken not to provide unwarranted solace to the people who destroy our environment, rape our commonwealth, and cheat our nation of the resources. He kept saying and all that. But, on this particular one, people have been saying that that means there is a cover-up. Why burn the crude oil vessel? Like, who are the people behind it? Have they actually brought out people and all that? So that is still some talks right there.
Okay, so President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday directed the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, that's the SGF, Mr. Boss Mustafa, and ministers to start preparing transition plan for the incoming administration so that they ensure that there's a proper documentation that is done of all the policies, programs, and projects of government that have been carried out. They also said the status of all the implementations must be recorded. And so he was warning political appointees. He said, we know that this is the time for politics, but they should not abandon their jobs and face politics. And anyone who is found wanting will be really dealt with, according to him. He went ahead to say while he was, there was this performance review retreat that they had, and he was, saying everything that they needed to do. And he's admonishing all the ministers and departments and NDAs to ensure that they keep, writing the quarterly reports, because this is going to serve as a bedrock of what they will hand over to the incoming administration. Everybody must face their job while you're politicking, ensure that you're working so that you can hand over to the next administration properly.
So the international oil companies, their divestment in onshore could actually be a threat to job security in Nigeria. This was said by the chief executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Mr. Gbenga Komolafe. He was saying this at the Pengassin Annual Conference, and where he was saying that was the two reasons why many of these IOCs are leaving. He says poor return on investment and the continuous theft in the Niger Delta of crude. Those are the two reasons why these guys are divesting. But however, it's supposed to give opportunities to indigenous players to take up these the onshore investment. However, the problem is that it might lead to a lot of job insecurity, because if the reason why those ones left is because there was no return on investment. There's a possibility that even those local players may not be able to also reap the benefits if the government doesn't put the right policies in place to stop this oil theft that we continually experience, and which is why Poverty really was engaged to reduce that. Okay, moving on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Buhari to unveil Tinubu's manifesto, inaugurate campaigns council by Friday. No plan to endorse any presidential candidates, modern elders insist. Bayelsa governor cries for help as flood displaces 1 million people. Gunmen kill community leader, abduct 5, injure 2 others in Plateau. Kogi Assembly summons BOA over the 50,000 hectare land acquisition. 10.5 million children lost parents, caregivers to COVID-19, says United Nations. And local government autonomy, governors holding Nigerians hostage, says National Assembly. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I can do the flood. Bayelsa State is crying out seriously. Governor Doyo Diri has said that the situation is getting worse, and he's calling on the federal government to do something to help. They said they have lost about 1 million people already from the communities. He had to even give directive that all the workers in the state should stay at home and find a way to, help themselves for now. So they said a few people have died. They didn't give the number of those people who have lost their lives. And there were some critical areas like the bridges connecting different communities. About 300 communities have been sacked in that area. And they are sort of cut off from the rest of the state. So it's a very dire situation, and he's calling for help. He mentioned some of the areas: Sagbama, Ekeremo, Southern Ijo, Ogbia, Yenagua, Nembe, Kolokuma, Opuma local government. And he went ahead to also warn some miscreants who are taking advantage to rob people in the midst of everything that's going on, that if you're caught, you'll be severely dealt with. So I think, I don't know, everybody keeps calling on the federal government, but I think the politicians in that area can come together and see what they can do for the people of the state while we're still waiting for the federal government to do something.
I'd like to draw attention to the picture story in Tribune. I forgot to take that. If you can get that on the screen. Is the presidential candidate of the PDP, that's Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, in a chat with foreign media in Paris, France, on Tuesday. If you recall, there were stories, indications that, he left Nigeria sick, that he was tired. There were social media reports saying that, Atiku was not feeling well and he was rushed to France. Nigerians. That's a picture story of him looking healthy, looking to media, some foreign media in France. And I think it's an opportunity for us to also tell that we should stop peddling all these rumors.
Hate speech and all of this,
This is what it is, lies. This is a man standing right there. So.
All right, so I have no plan to endorse any candidates, and it's actually a follow-up to what I took the other time about the Arawa Northern Elders under the aegis of the Arawa Joint Committee and organizers. So, that particular meeting they had over the weekend, they're still talking about it, and included presidential dialogue with some presidential candidates. And I said that there is no plan to endorse any of the candidates. But the exercise was just intended to probe aspirants ahead of the 2023 general election.
Okay. Any important stories?
They abducted a community leader. They said this government got into the community about 11 p.m., that the residents were tortured, just seriously tortured, and then the community leader was taken, and 5 members of his family, was killed, and then 5 members of his family were abducted. The police have confirmed that this happened, but they also say that details of the incident is a bit sketchy, but as we know, they will look into it. The government left with also motorcycles and food items from the community.
Really sad. Okay, that is all we can take on the front page review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.